Hello YouTube, it's me John Avenger once again, and welcome back to Movie Starring Kids and Children Month. And we got another good one. This is a 90s film from like 1996. It's basically at the time when kids movies were coming out with a lot of animal, not talking animals, but animal movies. You had Beethoven, you had Air Bud, you had Free Willy. And this is one with an ape. And it's the 1996 family comedy Dunston Checks In. A delightful and funny family film, Kevin Thomas, The Los Angeles Times. Yeah, this is a very funny movie. I grew up watching this movie in the 90s, and I rented it a lot on VHS. I used to watch it on cable. It made me laugh my ass off. Here's the premise. A 5-star hotel turns into a 3-ring circus when an orangutan named Dunston checks in with his evil owner, which is, what's his name? Lord Rutledge, yeah. Jason Alexander, Faye Dunaway, and Eric Lloyd, that's the kid from from the Santa Claus movies, star in this hilarious romp about an orangutan who gets loose in the very elegant, majestic hotel on the eve of the social event of the season. Dodging his jewel-thieving owner and the frantic hotel manager, Dunston is befriended by the manager's 10-year-old son, Kyle, who's determined to help his new friend escape. Filled with laughter and comic hijinks, Dunston Checks In is a steady stream of giggles for those who get a kick out of monkey business. It's an ape, not a monkey, because it doesn't have a tail. Henry Sheehan, Orange County Register. Yeah, it's a fun little film. It says 1995, 89 minutes long. It's very, very cute. I like the cast in this. I like Jason Alexander. He's very likable in the movie. He's the typical father where he loses his temper, but, you know, he does the sensible thing when his sons are getting into trouble. He also has an older son, and it's you know, he punishes them and, you know, tells them that you can't leave the hotel room. You got to just behave because, you know, I have a lot of things to do. But it's a fun movie. And guess what? Look, a real orangutan, a real ape. There's no CGI in this movie. It's not a guy in a suit. It's a real animal. I feel for him when he gets hurt. There's a scene where he gets his hand cut and there's blood. It's not real blood because they're not going to hurt the animal. But I like seeing real animals on screen in a family comedy or in like a nature film. Nowadays, people keep using just CGI animals for everything. Granted, Black Panther had it, but they're badass rhinos with armor, so I can at least give that a pass. But an actual ape that I can sympathize with, and it's real, and it's actually doing the stunts. It's petting the kid's head. It's climbing up the freaking walls. Yeah, it's a real animal. So you can get trained animals. It's just people are just too lazy to use them. And I know it's hard to work with children and animals, and this movie gets to do both. And if you want some laughs, you know, there's a lot of slapstick in the movie. There's a scene where Dunston punches Pee Wee Herman in the face. It's Paul Rubens. He plays an animal, like a hunter, if you will, that has like tranquilizers to try to hunt Dunston. There's a scene where Lord Rutledge, you know, he scares Dunston and then he goes into his closet. But there's a scene that he bites his ear. That's hilarious. It's just like Tyson and Holyfield. It came out around the same time. And there's another scene where there's a kitchen fighting scene with him and Jason Alexander that makes me laugh my ass off because he uses one of the egg beaters and he's like, yeah, and he's like doing like this, like he's using a machine gun. It's hilarious. And he gives him a low blow, which that works in every movie. I never heard of this director, Ken Kwapis, yeah. I never heard of him, but I like the cast here. You got Rupert Everett. He always plays a good bad guy. Well, except in Inspector Gadget, I couldn't stand him because that's not the Claw from the cartoon. Glenn Shaddix, you may have heard his voice. He was the mayor of Halloween Town in Nightmare Before Christmas. Faye Dunaway, I've always thought she was a good actress. Even when she's in a shitty film, she gives it 110%. You got Eric Lloyd, who's a very cute little boy. He's grown up into a nice adult now. I forgot who played his older brother, but he's not a very well-known actor. But it's a very cute little movie, and if you want to get some laughs with a real orangutan, that I like seeing real animals. Like, you know, I know that they say that, oh, it looks real in some CGI movies, like the new Kong or the new Apes films, but I like seeing a real animal in a real movie because I feel more emotion when it's hurt, or when the animal's suffering, or when the animal is running through the grass, or going up a tree or something. I just get more emotionally invested in a real animal. I can see CGI animals in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, or even in in other movies, but when it's like Avatar and then everything is CG, it takes me out of the experience. Even the dogs and everything are CG. It looks fake to me. It just looks like a video game. Here, I'm emotionally invested. The film's not too long. There's some flaws. There's some jokes that don't work now. Some of the soundtrack is very dated 90s rap, but hey, it was the 90s. I could give it that. There's some characters that really don't serve a purpose. Like there's this German opera singer. She's like, oh, no, and I'm like, it's too big for this kind of a movie. I don't know why opera was so big in the 90s. They put it in a small part in Lion King in this movie, and also in whatchamacallit, Simple Wish. The father is an opera singer. Is like, they're so much better than I. I'm like, this is a little too big. You're not winning an Oscar. It's just a kid's movie. Don't tone it down a little bit. Here, at least the opera singer's only in like 1 or 2 scenes, so she's not in it. And I'm like, I hope you enjoyed my singing. I'm not much of a singer, but I sometimes like singing on camera. I'm entertaining you guys. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, and there's some things that they have like dated computers. There were no laptops at that time that were like state of the art. There were no tablets or cell phones, like big cell phones or whatever. And yeah, it's a very basic story, where there's an animal loose inside of a hotel or a house or whatever, and wrecks some things. There's a lot of funny jokes. So there's a scene where he licks a woman's face. There's a scene where Dunston like massages a woman's back, and she's laughing her ass off, and then she thinks it's the masseuse, and she like does him. There's no sex scenes, so don't worry. It's a PG movie. They keep it PG. There's one S-bomb in the movie that Jason Alexander's like, holy shit! That's the only time he says it in the movie because it's PG. And the rest of the film is a lot of fun. Like Glenn Shaddix, there's a scene that the women slap him all the time. It cracks me up. And there's a scene that Paul Rubens, he tries to shoot Dunston with a tranquilizer gun. The kid hits him in the leg. He shoots Glenn Shaddix in the ass. And he's like, the look on his face is golden. He's like, this just cracks me up. Oh my god, man! I miss Glenn Shaddix. I know he passed away a couple years ago, so I know he was an openly gay man, but the guy could act and he was funny. That's all he needed to do. Agendas aside, he was still funny in the movie. And he's just, Mrs. DeBrow, I'm Lionel Spaulding. Yeah, he cracks me up. And he has a dog named Neil that smells Dunston, outside in the balcony, and it jumps off the roof, and it's like, Arr! And I have a dog, so I know, it's not funny to see a dog, fall off a building, but they do it in a way that's comical, that's not too dark. And the film's a lot of fun. If you've never seen this movie, it's one of many 8 movies that they had back in the 90s, because you had Ed, you had this movie, and you had Spy Mate in like the early 2000s. So yeah, there were a lot of movies with either talking animals or just live animals doing crazy things. But I like seeing real animals. Imagine if they did an Air Bud movie that had a CG dog. You wouldn't be invested because it's not there. I like seeing real domesticated animals. And for this month, I'm glad I got to finally review it. It's very cute. I would recommend it to you guys if you want to see an early 90s live action movie with real animals. And, with cute children that actually can act and that have slapstick funny comedy and, some dated 90s music, but it's a lot of fun. And even the ending makes me laugh. Just Glenn Shaddix, he just steals a lot of the film. Just the expressions on his face make me laugh my ass off. It's like, there's a monkey head in my lap. Monkey head, monkey head. And then the ending, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but just the look on his face, it cracks me up every time. Just he's like, no. It's funny, man. It makes me laugh. The Nostalgia Critic was wrong on this movie. Makes me laugh my ass off. and you know, it's fun for a family film. You know, family films are not going to be Shakespeare, but it is what it is, and it makes me laugh. So thanks for guys for watching. I hope you do watch this movie. It's very funny. It's easy to find on Amazon. You can watch it on YouTube for free. And you know, you like CGI animals? That's fine. I can take them in some movies, like in Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok. But when I want to see a real ape, I'll see this, a real orangutan that actually you can feel what he's going through. He interacts with the children very well, and you know, it's actually a main character that actually is, you know, believable. And if that ape is dead, well, rest in peace. I'm glad that he entertained me in this movie, and they never made a bad sequel. I'm thankful it's a standalone movie. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next review.